Now you and it is common, already told that it follows for all the Panchakarmas. So whether it is Svedana, whether it is Vamana, Virejana, the same thing follows for, and there will be a specific contraindication, do's and don'ts for specific Panchakarmas. And like for common, we have some do's and don'ts, and then there will be specific for that particular procedure. There will be certain do's and don'ts. Then another very important session we will be dealing today is the mode of action, because mode of action question one will be asked definitely. So you will have to study all the mode of action areas like comes Snehana, Svedana, Vamana, Vedajana, and so on. Then there are certain modern topics which you need to be aware in this session, which is a sauna bath and what is steam bath. Okay, so let's move forward. Before that, let me just briefly go through the previous class. So, what was said Svedana? Svedana is a regulated heating technique where it is controlled in a controlled manner. We'll be giving this heating technique until an optimum level is attained. What is that optimum level? It is the Samnik Sveda Lakshana. Once you have achieved the Samnik Sveda Lakshana, we'll stop this regulated heating technique. Okay. It is one among the Shadubakramas. I hope all of you know about the Shadubakramas. Charaka has mentioned about the six Upakramas. Okay, but later on, when we come to the Vruddha Vakpada or Vakpada, it has been consolidated into two, Lengthana and Brahmana. But when you see Charaka, it is you have the Snehana, the Rukshana, Svedana, Stambhana, and Lengthana Brahmana is there. Okay, so you have an elaborated one in which is the Shadubakramas for the Charaka. And he has told that there is no other Upakrama other than this Shadubakrama. For treatment, we can use any one of this according to the condition. Okay. So if there is a condition which is arising due to Adhisvedana, patient is having Adhisvedana problem there, then what should be the treatment? It should be the opposite treatment, which will be the Stambhana treatment. Okay, so likewise, we can use the opposites in the Shadabakrama to have the treatment being done. For example, when you have listened to the Snehana class also, there when there is Adi Snehada or a Sneha Vyabhat happening, the Rukshana is being applied there. Okay, so that is the importance of the Shadabakrama. And there again, when we come into the treatment protocols like the Pinda Svedas, then the Kiri, the Potali Svedas, and all that, we will understand how Snigdha and Ruksha variety is there, how that will cause about lengthena in a patient, how what are the Brahmana type of the Potali Svedas. Okay, so all that we will deal with when we come to the different therapies, the therapies, I mean. Okay. Then we learned about a lot of classification of Svedanas, right? Then basically, when you study the classification, it is very easy to study in this. It is based upon heat generating source, whether it is an Agni or a Niragni, whether there is an Agni involved, heat generating is through an Agni involvement, or where there is no Agni involvement, that is the Niragni Svedana. That is how that classification has come out. Then we have the quality based, whether it is Snigdha, whether it is Ruksha or whether it's Ruksha Snigdha. This is very important when you come to a treatment management. Okay, when you have a patient coming to you, we first have to analyze and then understand whether there is a Ruksha Sveda needed, whether it is a Snigdha Sveda needed. So that must come through through a physician's mind. So then only we choose one and impart. Okay, the site of application, whether you're going depending upon that, it is being divided, right? When it is applied in the Vamshana area, it is the Madhyama Sveda. When it is in the Hridayam Drik, all that, it is no Mrudu Svedam or no Sveda at all. So the other areas Mahan Svedam can be. And then again, the site application, whether it is Eganga. Suppose a patient comes to you with a shoulder pain. Okay, and you analyze the things there, and then you see that okay, we'll apply some Ruksha Sveda, but no need of full body. Eganga Ruksha Sveda is enough. Okay, so in such condition, the site of application, whether it is a whole body Svedana procedure or whether it is only a local area Svedana procedure. Then we have local area Svedana procedures like Kadivasti, then you have the Janavasti, all that is local areas, Eganga areas. Okay, then we learned about Upanaha, which you don't do Upanaha whole body, you do for a Eganga site. Then strength of the procedure, that is Mrudu Sveda, Mahan Sveda, or in the in between one, the Madhyama Sveda. That again we will decide based on the strength of the roga, based on the strength of the rogi, and the kala. Because if it is summer season, even though we need to have a mahan sweda for that patient, we'll not do because it is summer season. It is pitta kova and navasta, very very hot season. The patient will not be adjusted to such heavy swedas. Okay. Then pharmacologically is the classification based on Delhana. I told you about the Samshamaniya Sweda and the Samshodhananga Sweda. That is Samshamaniya Sweda is the local quarterly applications which we do, with which the patient gets relief. The Samshodhana Swedana is the one which we do after Snehapana. And then we do the Swedana, so that all the doshas in the Shaka will, which is in the lean avastha, will get into the Drava Rupa and then comes to the Koshta and be ready for the procedure to happen and go out of the body to the nearest root, whether it is Vamana or Virajna, through the root which has been, we are going to do that. Okay. So that is the pharmacological Svedana, basically the Samshodhana and the Samshamaniya. Okay. That was a quick revision of the last class. This is again the last class revision, the Taba, because understanding this properly, we cannot understand the Svedana types again. Like when you come to the therapies, the Shastika Pinda Sweda, then Tatra Pinda Sweda, all that is based upon all this. Okay, so these topics must be thorough. Here, when I said about the Tabasveda, I would like to add one more point there. Here you see Tabo Agnitapta Vasana Kala Hasta Kaladvihi. You are taking a cloth or a hasta and you're applying some heat. Like I said, when you have a eye, there is a granthi in the eye, you do such Svedana with your hasta. Sometimes people, what they do is they take a cloth, they will blow into the cloth and make it hot and then keep. And then again, there's some people rub their hands and then keep on their eyes. So here it is just the heat which is involved. It is just a transfer of the heat. There, it is not necessary that your hand should be used or your somebody else's hand should be used or some clothes should be used, particular clothes should be used. No, the substance is inert here. That doesn't matter there. It is the only transferring of the heat to the place. So that is the importance of Tavasveda. Whatever you take, it is being heated and then that heat is transferred. So quality of the material is not important and it reduces kapha. Example is Valuka Sveda. So when we deal with Valuka Sveda, you will understand there. Some of the Sveda procedures like Patra Pinda Sveda, we cannot use the same pottery again and again, or we cannot use the same pottery for another person. No. But for sand, you can use the same for 7 days, then wash it, dry it, and can be used for another person also. Because there, it is not the quality of the sand which is being used. It is the transfer of heat through the sand. That is the only thing which matters. Because sand is inert there. The substance is inert, no quality, and only heat is being transferred. I hope it is clear. And when you come to Ushma Sveda, you have Utkarika, Loshta, Kapala, Upala, Pamsvihi, Patra Bhangena. That is a reference of the Patra Pinda Sveda, Patra Bhangena. The leaves can be used. Anegu Bhaya Samtaptehi. You can use n number of materials to be performed as a Potli Sveda or a Ushma Sveda. Okay, there the guna of the substance is very important in this Ushma Sveda. Because if you take rice, then it becomes different. When you take patra or patrapinda sweda or the elakiri, which we say in Malayalam, that will be different. The nyavarakiri, the shastika shalipinda swedam, is the guna imparted is different there. Okay, so Anega Upaya has been developed and Kerala Vaidyas, the ancient Kerala Vaidyas have researched so much things and they have come out with lots of variations because the technique, the guna which is being imparted is different. Okay. And Prayoja Desha Kalada, according to the Desha and Kala, we can choose and use differently. And Dravasveda, it is the one, you have two types of Dravasveda. One is Parishega, where you have pouring of the liquid. Avagaha is sitting on the bathtub or it's sitting in a sitz bath. That is Avagaha, you can compare them. Okay, and Parishega is done for conditions where it is a Pitta is associated with Vada or Kapha. And pure Pitta conditions will, it is not Kevala Pitta, it is contraindicated. Okay, when Pitta is having an association with Vata and Kapha, you have the Parishega Sveda. The Ubanaha Sveda has already been explained detailedly in the previous class. Svedana contraindication we studied earlier, indication also we studied. The Svedana contraindication also you can you can write under these headings. Okay, I told you the sloka and everything, but you can write under these many headings. One is the diseases where pitta is vitiated. Okay, then you have the vitiation of recta or bleeding, like Svedana is contraindicated in recta pitta or adhoga. In such conditions, we cannot do. Visarpa condition, we cannot do. Accumulation of kleda, there comes Taulia and Prameha, where there is a situation where there is accumulation of kleda. Dissolution of Medha, whereas there again we have the Staulia and also Urustamba, we can say. Viruddho Bajaradaha, that is, we have Sneha Pida and such conditions there, who has taken Sneha or who has taken Kshira and such things have been just consumed, such persons are contraindicated. Under that heading, you can include all of them. Sharira Bala, again, some of them like Bala, Vriddha, all have Sudika, all have very little Sharira Bala, and their dhadus are in just either in the Hina, the Dhatu Kshaya Avastha, or in the making of the Dhatu Avastha, like in Bala Avastha. So that has to be considered and contraindicated. Okay, with that, I just went through the quick points. Some of them needed to be cleared. That's why I took it up again and cleared it for you. Now let us see today's portions, which is the general precautions during Sartni Svedana and what are the methods to protect the vitals during Svedana. We already know that we cannot give lot of heat in the heart area. We cannot give lot of heat for the eye area because always we protect our eyes, right? In Ashtangradam and Charagam itself, in the Snanam, when you say Snanam, what have they mentioned? They have told you can take Ushnamu Snanam in your body, but in your head, it has to be always the Shidambu, right? So never will not pour hot water on our head because it is to protect your eyes. So similarly, when we do Svedana, there are certain areas where have to be protected. It cannot receive so much of heat. Okay, so what are the general things? Prior to Sedanam, it is necessary to perform Abhyangam. It is not necessary or it is not a must that we should perform. In some conditions, Abhyanga is contraindicated. Where you can use a Ruksha Taila, that is not so Snigdha Taila, or you can completely avoid. Like in Amavastha, say, I told in last class, like in Amavata, we can do Valuka Sveda. Okay, there we'll not apply oil. It is Ruksha Sveda which we perform. Okay, so there will not do the Abhyanga there. Now, the Svedana should be done at a place which is devoid of direct. It is always told that Nivade, Andar Better Snigtho, Sneha, Svedana Majre, Jirnanam, Svedana Majre. Okay, so these sentences are very important. Nivade means just imagine you can understand the concept there and then you can write out in your own words because suppose you're doing a Svedana procedure, what is your intention there? To produce sweat in the patient and think a place where there is a lot of air coming, will that patient sweat? No, right? Because there is a lot of air and they will not sweat. So you need to make that person sweat. So you should do the procedure in a room which is devoid of air entry. It should be nivade. It should not have lot of air entry. That is one thing. The second thing is that when the patient is receiving the treatment, no, if there is an air coming, the person might start shivering. That is a complication. So to prevent the complication and also to make the procedure more proper way and to achieve what you desire to achieve, that is to produce Vedana. This has to be made sure that it should be a Nivada, that is, it should be devoid of air entry. The temperature must be tolerable to the patient. It's always different from patient to patient. Like suppose you have a kiwi or you the potali, the Pindasvedam, you first check the temperature with your hand in the dosum here. Okay, always it is to be checked here. You cannot check it here because this area will receive more of heat. It can tolerate more of heat. So always check the potli with your dorsum of the hand, then start applying on the patient. And that again, some patients will say, no, no, doctor, it is not so hot. Or no, to the therapist, no, it is not so hot. Okay, then you need not increase the temperature. It is always there is an optimum temperature. But some patients might say, I cannot tolerate this much heat because maybe the person is a pitta prakriti, and so such people cannot tolerate so much of heat. Then we can reduce the heat. Always reducing heat is always possible, but increasing heat to an extent that of their wish is not recommended. Okay. but it should be of a minimum heat. But again, we can reduce from the moderate to a minimum, but not less than the minimum. Then you will not receive the Svedana procedure. So that is one thing. Then after completion of Svedana process, advised to take warm water bath followed by light meal as per the disease. There is a general rule in Kerala. I don't know how many of the hospitals outside follow this, or they are in a position to follow, because there are a lot of lack of infrastructure and such things. But whenever in Kerala we do a procedure, a Svedana procedure, suppose they do Udvartana, or suppose the patient has undergone Valuka Svedam, a 45 or a 30 minutes of Valuka Svedam, the patient has to come back and rest in their bed for a period of half an hour, at least 20 minutes. 20 to half an hour is fine, because that is a period where, see, you have when you have gone out and you have played a lot, and then you come back, do you take a shower immediately? No, you sit under the fan, or then you relax so that your temperature comes down, right? So similarly, when we are doing a Svedana procedure, it must be done that the patient gets back to the normal temperature. The temperature in the body might have raised, so he needs to take a period of rest of at least 20 to 30 minutes, so that the temperature, body temperature, comes back to normal. And then he is recommended to take a warm water bath. It's always a warm water bath, never a cold water bath. And then he can take a light meal. Okay, lagu aharam can be advised as per the disease. Okay, I hope all these things are very clear. Now, Swedanam is generally done in empty stomach or before the previous meal has been digested. It is like it is told that Nivade Antarbahisnigdo Jeernanam Swedamajari. Antarbahisnigdo means that is a procedure where you are following it from Snehana. That is, there is Snehana, Achapana Snehana is done. Then, so his internally he is oleated. Or if there is Abhyanga procedure and then we are doing a Svedana, then he is Antar and Bahisnigdha. Otherwise, leave it. That concept doesn't work for some of the Swedas. It is not a general statement. Okay. But Jirnanam is very important. Nivade is very important and Jirnanam is very important. Because Jirnanam means either he must be in empty stomach or the previous meal has to be digested. So some patients come to us telling that, doctor, can I take food before I go? Because I might get tired. What should be the answer? It's very simple. He can take it prior, but he should leave a gap so that gets digested. It's not soon after he taking and then go for a therapy. No, that's not possible. So he can take it, let that digest for some time, and then he can go for the treatment, because otherwise he might get weak sometimes. Okay, so if it is like 12 or 12:30, he might have taken only his morning breakfast. Then he can take a mid break or a mid morning snack, so that he doesn't feel so hungry when he is in the treatment procedure. That is always okay, especially for premenstrual obese. They might get hypoglycemia. So to prevent that, we always suggest them to take a mid morning snack and then go for the treatment. That is fine. Okay, but otherwise it has to be always on the empty stomach or jirna. Okay, then there's a reference from Charaga where they say that for covering the eyes or protecting the eyes when there is like procedures when we are doing for steam, whole body steam, or when you're doing the Shiradumam on the face, when we are applying face steam, then we can do with that. The eyes should be covered with clean cloth. Okay, or Goduma Pinda, that is, you take the atta and then mix and then cover, or with leaves of Utpala, Padma, Palasha, like lotus leaf, the lotus flower, the lotus leaves or the lotus bud flowers can also be used before Svedana for covering parts. Like, I'll give you an example. For Shira Dhumam Nasya, it is a procedure where Shira Dhumam, that is the milk boiled with certain medicines, is taken in a cooker, and then you have the nadi coming out. And when the cooker things starts boiling inside, nadi comes out of the tube, and then you apply on the face. That is Shiradhumam, and then followed by Nasim will be done. So in that case, when you're doing Shiradhuma on the face, and it is mostly done for Ardidam, Shiradhumam is done. In such condition, we should cover this eyes with the lotus petals or any of this. Mostly we use lotus petals. We'll ask them to come with the lotus, keep the petals, tie with a glue, and then do, so that his eyes gets protected. Okay, so that is very important. Vital organs need to be protected. Another reference is that the heart needs to be protected. So one is the eyes, then the heart. In such conditions, he is told that you can use muktavali. The pearls can be touched and then kept. Then what hot cold water can be touched and again touched in the heart area when the procedure is done. Okay, in between we can do that, but very rarely this is practiced. The heart area being touched with the cold water, that is not in practice. But if you think that it is really necessary because he is having some certain heart issues and really weak heart, then we can do so. Then, what are the factors to be considered before Svedana? In the last class we have studied that Vyadhi is important, Vyadhi the Desha is important, then whether it is Madhya, Avaram, or that has to be classification, whether the disease falls under which category, that is very important. Roga, Rudu, Vyadhi the Beksha, Natyushno, Adi Mridurnacha. So, according to Roga, Rudu, Vyadhi the Beksha, you can take Natyushno, not very hot things or na adi mridu chai. Should not be na adi mridu also. Na adi tikshna or na adi mridu. That should be the optimum Svedana must be done. Dravyavad kalpido deshe Sveda karyaromadah. That is according to the Dravya, the Svedana can be mild, moderate, strong, depending upon all these, the condition of the patient, the disease, the habitat, the season, all that. So all this has an influence on the selection of the Svedana and selection of the Dravya used to be for the Svedana. No, so that is the Pura Karma we said, and then comes to the procedure. Certain things which we need to follow during the Paschat Karma. That is I told you once again, he has to lie down for 30 minutes and then come back to the normal temperature, then take off in an Ushna Jalasnana. Susruta and Ashtanga Susruta has another thing which will come. So Ashtanga says that Syat Shanehir Mrududaha. The body can be just massaged slowly before he takes a bath and before he rests. Then Snadaha Tadaha Sneha Vidim Bhajit. Sneha Vidim Bhajit. So again the Paschat Karma is quoting that whatever is told in the Sneha Vidhi, that is a slower starting with Ushnoda Bhajari, Syad Brahmachari, Shabashya. Now, Vegarodi, Vyayama, Prodashodhi, Madhavan, that slogam needs to be compared or needs to be followed for here also. Svedana also. Okay, so after Svedana, light Mardhana should be done, followed by Ushna Jalasnana. Regimens which are prescribed for Sneha Vidhi, like light food, avoiding cold breeze, traveling, open air, and contact with cold water, all needs to be taken care here also. So you can study that sloka and write here also. Sneha Vidhi Bhajet and write the Sneha Vidhi. Okay. So, Svedana preparation of the patient, this is from Susrutam Chikitsa Svedadhyaya. Sarvan Sveda Nivade, I told Nivade. So, Jirnanam, that Jirnanam must be followed. We must check. So, what will be the first question to the patient when they come? Have you had food? How much time is it after having the food? Is it digested? Are you okay? So these are the questions. Or then previously, how was the Svedana yesterday? Did the pain elevate, increase? So these questions are important so that you can report to the doctor whether the patient is having an vishaya with the treatment, that is, the patient is getting relief or the treatment is going in a correct way. Okay. Then Snehabhyakta Sharirasya Shidherachaya Adaya Chakshushi. So we can cover that Shidherachadaya Chakshushi. We can cover the eyes with a wet cloth or we can cover it as mentioned before. Okay. Vidyamanasya cha muhur hridayam shidalehi sprishya. In between, we can touch the heart with the cold water. So precautions already mentioned. So protected areas are eyes and functional CVS protection, that is cardiovascular system. Heart areas needs to be touched with cold. Then some positions like the prawn position is difficult for heart patients, so that we can avoid. I'll come to the positions when we study the different therapies. Importance of Vata Nilomana. That is another one area which I'll be specifying when you come to the next class, where it will be very interesting. We'll have so many therapies being studied, like what is Shastakapinda Sweda, how to do it, and all that. So, whenever we do a Snigdha Sweda or a Snigdha Potli Sweda, it is important to achieve a Vata Nilomana. For that, we will give them something called as a Pati Kashayam. It is a kashayam which we can give soon after the treatment. It got the name because it is given in the Pati itself. But here we can give it after the treatment when they come to their bed and they lie down, they can have this kashayam so that we ensure there is vata nilomana happening. Okay, that is very important. Then protection of head from the heat, I have told before. Then when it is a Shodhana procedure, this will again study when you come to Vamana and Virejana, but just a brief knowledge here. You know that Snehana is done, Pachapana Snehana is done. Then we know that they will receive Svedana and then they go for Vamana or Virejana. Okay. So if we are planning a Virejana, we got some mixed inhalation. We are planning a Virejana, then 3 days of Svedana will be done for the patient. If it is a Vamana, which the patient is going to be done after Snehana, the Svedana should happen, then Vamana. That is the procedure. Okay. So he got some mixed link collection and study. So today he will receive the Kaboplishtha Ahara. Then 1 day of Svedana can be given, and that is 1 day of Svedana, 1 day of Kaboplishtha Ahara, and the next day they can go for Vamana. So the third day Vamana will happen. But in Virejana, the fourth day the Virejana will happen. Okay, that will be more clear when you study permanent duration. So, whenever a procedure is asked from the Sweda Karma Vidhi, we'll study in detail. If it is a Valuka Sweda asked, or if it is a Shastika Shalipinda Sweda asked, you will definitely write a Pura Karma, a Pradhana Karma, and a Pasat Karma for sure. Okay. So in the Pura Karma, what will be your methods? If it is Valika Sveda, what all things you need for Valika Sveda? That will be what you are writing. That is called as a Samhara Sangraha. What all things you need for that procedure, collecting that and keeping is the Samhara Sangraha. So what if it is Vamana, the Samhara Sangraha will be all things which you need for Vamana. Okay, if it is a Svedana, depending upon which Svedana, whether it is Shastika Shalipinda Sveda or Patrapinda Sveda, you have to write what all are the ingredients you need in that particular context. Okay, I hope I'm clear till now. Is it, Aishwarya, clear or not? Is it clear?
Yeah, doctor.
Okay, so Samhara Sangraha is over. Now we are going to have a Rogi Pariksha. We are going to understand what all are the concerns related to the patient. So first concern is definitely the Roga. He has a disease. That is his first concern. Okay. So what will be your choice according to the disease? The Roga. Okay. So if it is a Vatika Roga, we can say that Ubanaha. Delhana has said that Ubanaha can be done for Vatika Roga. If it is for Pitta, definitely we have a Gana which being mentioned. Kapha also we have Surasadi Gana being mentioned. So that way we can go around, but mostly it is for Vadika conditions. We receive a Ubanaha Sveda. If it is a Slaishmika Roga, we can go for a Kava Sveda or Ushma Sveda depending upon what will be the best for that patient. If it is a Pitta Samsrishta Sveda, I told you, if Pitta is in combination with Vata or Kapha, then we go for a Drava Sveda. Okay, Drava Sveda again Parishega Sveda. But if it's a local condition, we go for a Avagaha Sveda. That is regarding the Roga. Next is Rudu, right? There again we said, if it is a Shida Rudu, Hemanda Rudu or Shishira Rudu, which is rarely in Kerala, but in outside countries when it is a even you see people are doing Ayurveda in Russia also, right? In Russia, the climate is very cold sometimes. So, and that condition, we have to do a Mahan Sweda because the Sweda needs to be very intense. And with that, the room needs to be conditions in such a favorable way that we can impart the Swedana. So, you need heaters in all the rooms. The rooms need to be heated so that the patient gets the Swedana procedure. Okay, you will artificially create an atmosphere so that the Svedana will work there. Okay. Then in Ushna Ritu, we do Mridu Sveda. That is very common in Kerala. We have very good intense summers, but also Delhi people will have the north also there is intense summers. In such conditions, we'll go for Mridu Sveda. In Kerala, especially, we don't do Pirichil. Pirichil is the Kaya Sega or the Kaya Sega, which we pour the hot oil over the body. Such things we don't do in the summer season because it is very intense Sveda. The patient will not be able to tolerate. Only if he requires it or intensely requires as per the condition will do. Otherwise, Shastika Shalipinda Sveda is mostly adopted in the summer seasons. Okay. So Mridu Sweda is according to the Ritu. So it is not that just a patient comes to us, we decide this Potli Sweda, and then the patient goes go. No, we'll analyze what is the Ritu, what is the ideal optimum level. We may have to minimize the Sweda or we have to intensify the Sweda. according to the Rudu. Okay. Vyadhita, that is Roga, Rudu, Vyadhita Pekshi. That is, Vyadhita means the Rogi, whether the patient has an Uttama Bala, so that he can go for a Mahan Sveda, or a Madhyama Bala, Madhyama Sveda, Avara Bala, Alpa Sveda. So, how will you understand this? I'll tell you. A rogi comes to us. We understand he has a kabaja vyati, and we decide to go for a tava sveda. Okay, maybe say valuga sveda. And needs to be very intense. And then we decide, but the rogi does not have the bala to do it. Okay, so we need an intense mahan sveda, but the rogi does not have a bala or is alpa bala, so that we cannot perform this. In such situations, we have to consider the rogi bala. Okay, and then we can reduce the sveda's intensity and do it. Okay, so that is also very important. Not just administrating Swedas on on the persons. It is also important that we analyze the bala of the patient and understand whether the patient is able to what do you call it, withstand the Sweda. Only then we can do the Sweda. Because always, what is the chikitsa tattva? Roga balam, right? We will only treat according to the rogi balam. So not sorry, not the roga balam. The rogi balam is important for us. Okay. Now, according to the dravya needs to be selected whether it needs to be ruksha. That is all depending upon the condition of the rogavastha. Snigdha dravyam is for snigdha svedam, ruksha snigdha dravyam for such condition. Desham, whether they belong to Bhumi Desham, Jangla Desham, such Deshams we do Madhyama Svedam, whereas in Anupa Desham we can go for an Uttama Svedam. Then again, last class we described about the Deha Desham, where according to the area to be performed, the previous slide also I have mentioned, Krishna Hridayam Drishti Sveded Murdu Nava. Either it has to be Murdu or Nava, need not be done in Krishna, Hridayam and Drishti. Madhyama Vankshana. In Vankshana, it has to be always Madhyama Svedam. Shesha Mangavevam Ishtadaha. All the rest of the areas you can choose according to your yukti. That is what Acharya says. Adir Snigdhada, this is the slogan which I told. Nivade Andar Bahi Snigdho Jirnanam Svedam Ajare. It has to be Nivada. Andar Bahi Snigdhada must be there if it is for a Shokananga Sveda we need to perform. If it is a Shamana Sveda, may not be Andar Bahi Snigdha. Okay. And according to the condition, it can vary. Jirnanam is important because we cannot do perform the Sveda in an full stomach or a stomach where there is a Jirnavastha. No, we cannot. Suppose a patient is going for a treatment, and before that the patient tells you he is not, his stomach is upset, he is having some digestion issues. So do we recommend Sveda? No, right? We tell them to take care of the stomach first. We'll treat the stomach condition first, or we'll treat the Ajirna stage first, and then only we'll do the Sveda. In Ajirna state, we cannot do the Sveda. Okay. And Vyadhi Vyatida Desha Rudu Vashan Madhyam Avaravara. Depending upon the Vyadhi, depending upon the Vyatida Desha Rudu, we'll decide whether it has to be Madhyam Avaram or Varam, the Shrestha variety. Okay. Pradhana karma is different. So this is a pura karma which I mentioned. It includes all these examinations, whether the rudu, the vyadi, the roga, all that needs to be analyzed. That is called the rogi pariksha. Okay, then you have the roga pariksha also can be done according to, that is the roga according to the roga which you need to select and all that. Samvara sangraham I mentioned. Next is the pradhana karma. There you have to mention according to different. If it is a Kshiradhumam, the Pradhana Karma will be accordingly, which we'll study in the next class. Okay. So is whatever I said till now, is it clear? Then we can go to the Samyak Yoga, the Ayoga, and the Adyoga. Aishwarya, am I clear? Okay. Now let's go to the Samyak Yoga, the Ayoga, and the Adyoga of Svedana. This is the optimal science where you have to stop the Svedanas. The Ayoga is where the Svedana has not happened in the optimal way. It is in the lesser condition. Okay, Adyoga where there is excess of Svedana has happened. How will you understand in the patient whether it is being done in an optimal or in an Ayoga or in an Adyoga way? Let us see. Hello. Somebody talk.
ഹലോ.
Hi, Shreya. Tell
ആ
me.
മിസ് കേൾക്കുന്നുണ്ട്.
Okay, okay. Are you able to follow?
ആ.
Okay. Now let us see the summit Swin election. This slogan is
ഉം,
very important. We need to
ഉം,
study. Okay. Shida
ഉം.
Shula Varame, Stamba Gaurava Nigrahe, Sanjade Mardave Swede, Svedana, Mada. Means you have to have reduction of the Shida. The Shida, there is a cold extremity or there is a coldness in the body for which we are doing the Svedana. Okay. So Shida Uparama, the reduction of the coldness in the body. Shula Uparama means Shula and the patient, the pain also must come down. Okay. Then Stambhavastha is the stiffness of the body. Because when you do Svedana, the body becomes flexible or more flexibility is imparted through the Svedana procedure. Okay, so Stamba Nigraha is another sign which we see. And Gaurava Nigraha, that is the heaviness gets reduced. Okay, so the patient will tell us that there is a reduction of pain. So when you go to the patient every day, we need to understand how the patient is doing. So Veda, how are you doing? Then he says, my stiffness has reduced, my pain is reducing, and my heaviness feeling is gone. I am able to be more lighter. There is a Lankana feeling there. Okay, so that condition we know that it is in a Samyak Avastha. This is not achieved by one day. Okay, one day of Swedanam, you will not receive all these symptoms, but gradually you will start receiving that the reduction of the cold is there. Okay, but daily monitoring is necessary as well as everyday the weekly monitoring. Like after 7 days, how far the Svedana has been Samyak, we need to understand. Okay, then this is another sign which is told by Susruta. That is Sveda Sravo. The patient will get Sveda Sravo. He starts sweating. Vyadhi Hani, because that reduction of the disease. The disease starts, it is not like got treated fully, but there is a reduction of the disease happening. Slowly, the pain is coming down. Lagutvam is felt. Sheedarthitam. That is, the patient will feel a desire for cold things because he is having a lot of sweating and his body is getting very hot. He desires to have a cold. They might say, please on the fan, or I need to have the fan, or I need to get some air. That kind of feeling is a sign to stop the procedure also sometimes. Sometimes patients gets a lot of exhaustion and the patient says stop the procedure, I'm not feeling good. That is an indication of samik avastha, or maybe, and you can say adiyoga avastha also. They might have such feelings and they might stop the Vedana. Okay, and if you will see that the body which was very stiff starts to become very mardava in nature, very flexible in nature, and the Vedana procedure is being done. Okay, this is the Samik Swinne Prahur. Mithya Svinyatya, that is that Mithya Svedas will be mentioned in another verses. Okay. So the Samik Svedanam is all these indications which I told. This is important. Actually, I think you can mute. We can hear the sound. Okay. When I ask questions, you can answer. Yeah,
ആ,
unmute and say.
ആ.
Okay. Okay, so let's see. This is being mentioned in the last class also. The two types of Svedhanam, the Shamananga Svedam and the Shodhananga Svedam. Uh, this is here again we'll see the benefits of the Shamananga Svedam and the Shodhananga Svedam, because these are also the Samvik Lakshana of these Svedas. Understand? The others were the common Lakshanas, where Shida Shula Vibrame, Stamba Gurva Nigrahe, Sanjave Matave Sveda, Svedana, Viradharmada. That is a Lakshana which we need for every Svedas. But when it is for a Samshamana Sveda, what is the Lakshanas you need to understand? We'll see that there is Agnir Dipti, Mardavam, Prasadam happening, Bhakta Sradam, Srodasam, Nirmalatvam. Okay, and then this Svedam will reduce the Nidra, Tandra, Sandhin Stabdadam. Okay, Cheshtayascha Ashu Suyuktaham. So all that gets corrected. Then you'll understand the Samshamaniya Sveda is being done in a proper manner. So that is what prasadada start happening. Bhakta Shraddha, desire towards food, that is always there. Okay, the patient will start feeling more hungry. Agni Dipti will be there. Strodho Nirmalatvam. There is a body, the patient will see, I am more clear. Maybe the Manavaha Strodhas also gets clarified, and also the Dehabaha Strodhas also gets clarified. He feels more light. Tandra. That is, Tandra is like the patient will tell, I was not interested to get up, I feel always just lie down. So that is not there now. I'm more refreshed. I feel lighter and more clarity in mind, all that they say. reduces excessive sleep. Who is having lethargy, always sleepy, always tired, that will get reduced. Sabda Sandhi means the stiffness of the body gets reduced. This is an indication, or this is a samvik lakshana of the Samshamaniya Sveda, and some Shodhananga Svedam. It will be here. What is our intention? To bring the Sneha has caused, I mean, lot of Vishyandana and Utklesha in the Shakha. To bring the doshas from the Shakha to Koshta is the Lakshana, is the indication of the Shodhananga Sveda. Okay, so Snehaklina Dadu Samstasha Dosha Swasthanastada Yecha Margeshu Linaha Sammik Sweder Yoji Daistan Dravatum. They'll reach a Dravatum stage and Prapta Kostam Shodhane. That is Shesham will be the Vamana or Virejana. Okay. So that is the Shodhananga Sweda Lakshana. That is the Dravatvam it needs to achieve, and it needs to come to the Srodha, the Kosta. That is the Shodhananga Sweda Samikavasana. So we studied the Samyak Lakshana. What is the optimal science? Now we must understand what happens when there is a Adhisvedana. It can be in because of the negligence in our part to understand their Prakriti, their Prita Prakriti, or maybe the negligence to understand their Bala, or the Rudu, understanding, proper understanding of the Rudu. All this, or maybe also the therapist not being very careful, doing Svedana in a very high temperature, that can also cause this Adhisvena Lakshana. So, administration of heat by improper assessment results in excessive fermentation. That is the Adhisvena. If the person develops signs and symptoms indicative of excessive Sveda, what will be the what should be the next measure? The immediate measure just to stop the procedure, right? The patient is saying, "I'm feeling giddy. I'm not feeling good. I'm feeling fainting or feel like fainting." The immediate thing will be stopping the procedure there and then. We'll not say that, oh, 5 minutes is more there. We'll finish it off. Okay, because now only 5 more minutes is there. No, that is not, the patient cannot tolerate anymore. Okay, so we have to stop the procedure then and there. All right. So it might be in the initial stage of the procedure, or in the mid stage of the procedure, or maybe towards the end. That doesn't mean that you need to continue. It needs to be stopped then and there, and we need to take care of the patient. Now, how will you understand what are the signs and symptoms of the Adhisveda? One is Pitta Prabodha. So, we all know that the indication of the Sveda is not for Pitta. It is Pitta, the Pitta conditions are purely contraindicated. But sometimes when we do these procedures, what happens, because of the Ushna, Tikshna Guna and the Sveda, the Pitta will increase. Such high increase of Pitta can cause Murcha, Sharira Sadhanam. Murcha means the dizziness, patient might faint. Okay. Sharira Sadhanam means we might feel very tired. Okay, very tired. And Daham, thirsty. Swara Anga Daurbalyam. Swara Daurbalyam and Anga Daurbalyam. He might feel very weak in his body. This is the Lakshana of Adhisvena Lakshana. This has to be studied. Okay, the slogan needs to be studied. The Adhisvena Lakshana has to be studied. Then again, in Ashtanga Sankhya, we can study either the Charaka Sloka or the Ashtanga Sloka. No problem. Pittasra Kobam Tridmurcha. So, what is the dosha which you will find to be increased in Adhisvedanam? No doubt, right? It is Pitta. So, Pitta Asra Kobam. Pitta, when Pitta is in increase, Asra Kobam also occur. The Rekta will also increase. Okay. Thrid Murcha. Thrid becomes Murcha, becomes and Swara Anga Sadanam Brahmaha. Okay, Sandhipida Jwaraham. What happens Sandhipida? Some of the joints start aching more, and some feverish feeling might develop. Shava Rekta Mandala Darshanam. This is very common among foreigners. Okay, foreigners come to us for treatment, and they have very sensitive skin. And when we do a procedure, especially like Jambira Pindasvedam, which is with lemon, the intense amla property along with the heat will cause a lot of small dots in their body, in their back areas and all, because their skin is very sensitive. Okay, so Shava Rekta Mandala Darshanam can be seen when there is an Adiyoga. So there, what we have to understand is their skin, or their skin is not suitable for such Sveda. It is only for Mrudu Sveda, or lighter, very Mrudu Svedas. Okay. This is the Sveda Adiyoga. Sometimes Chardi also can happen, okay, when there is a Sveda Adiyoga. Okay. So this is the Adiyoga Lakshanam or intense Vedana has happened more than the optimum has happened. This is what is I would have mentioned. Pitta and Pitta Kova, increase in Pitta and Pitta. Mocha is getting unconscious. Okay, then stop the treatment, cover the patient, sprinkle some cold water, and then you have to wake up the patient. You have to check the impulse, the pulse rate, the heart rate, the BP has to be checked. All that needs to be done immediately. Okay. Sharira Sadaram, weakness of the body. Because when this happens when you give steam bath. Okay, if you have done steam bath, at least once you will notice this. Because when you do an Abhyanga and then they go to the steam chamber, no? And then once in your when you are in the steam chamber, no, they'll put it on the steam chamber and then they'll go for some time. Inside the steam chamber, what happens like you feel initially good and you say sometimes it is 10 minutes or 15 minutes you do, but it is not like that. You will start feeling weak inside. You'll feel as if you're going to collapse inside. Okay, because there is a lot of dehydration happening, electrolyte imbalance happening. That might be the causes for the weakness of the body parts. Okay, Krishna, excessive thirst happens because there is dehydration in the body. Okay, sweat means dehydration happening. The water element or the water component of your body is being evaporated. Okay. Burning sensation can occur because of the Pitta Kopa, the Rekta Kopa. Swara Daurbalya can occur. Swara and Anga Daurbalya can also occur. Okay. So these are the Adiyoga of Svedana. Then again, weakness in the body parts, Santipeda, Spodopati, Shava, Rekta Mandala Darshanam, Brahmam, Jaram, Chave. Okay. What will be the treatment? The treatment will be Stambanam. The opposite of Svedana is always Stambanam, right? So Stambanam is the treatment indicated by Bhagavata. But Sushruta says Shrida Vidhanam. It is the same. Imparting Shrida Dravyas or a Shrida Dravya should be given immediately. That will give relief the Svedana Yoga. But Charaka says the Grishma Charya. Okay, Grishma Rutu, there you follow certain regiments, right? What do you say? The Rudu Charya followed for the Grishma. That the Charya can be followed for the Svedana Adiyoga, Chikitsa. Okay. What is Ayoga? That is, the Sveda is not sufficiently done. The treatment is below the optimum. Okay, above the optimum is the Adiyoga. Below the optimum is the Ayoga. The causes of inadequate sedation are amount of heat is less. It can be either because the intensity is less or duration of heat is less. You are telling that okay, you do Valuga Svedam for 10 minutes. That cannot be sufficient. That may not be sufficient. Okay, so that needs to be the whole body when you're doing the procedure. There needs to be a proper time to be maintained so that its body receives optimum. If it is less than that, some therapists, if they're lazy to perform and if they don't perform the required time, the amount of time, what happens? There will be ayoga. They will not receive the proper effect of the treatment. In such conditions, the Vedana should be continue. What will be the treatment? Definitely, you have to do till the Samikshana. That will be the treatment. Now, in Kashyapa Samhita, they say that it is the opposite of the Samik Lakshana. Everybody says Ayoga is opposite of the Samik Lakshana. That will be the Ayoga state. Okay, that is Vyadhiya. Shida Shula Vibrame. Shida and Shula will not reduce, it will increase. Or it will be the same. Shida Shula Vibrame. Stamba Gaurava Nigrahe. Stamba and Gaurava will be the same. Sanjade Mardave Swede. That Mardhavatva will not be there, it will be missing. In such conditions, it is the Ayoga, the opposites. But in Kashima Sadhyata, it says that Vadasya Apragunatvam, Cha Gurutvam Stabdagatradaha. That is, improper Vata Niloma is happening there. Heaviness, Stabdagatrada is there. Stiffness is throughout the body. And Mandasvinnena Chaglani Krishnadinam Cha Vipramaha. Mandasvinnam there will be increase in thirst and weakness when it is Adiyoga, but sometimes it can in very mild conditions also can cause this procedure is what is mentioned in Kashyapa Samhita, because Kashyapa Samhita is mostly dealing with Bala. It might be the reasons they have mentioned Krishna Dinam Viprama happening. Okay, what are the complications of Sweda and the management according?